All right, it's been a while. I'm gonna do a new deck tech. I'm one of my favorite commanders again. Um, at the time when I made this, which was a while ago, I was kind of surprised like this commander wasn't so popular earlier. And recently, I just checked and like the price has gone up crazy. So, I think there's something to it. It's kind of like an Edric commander a little bit. Which also makes me surprised why it's like not banned in 1v1. I guess, I mean, there's not many take extra turns type stuff with mono black, but yeah, this is a really fun deck. It's maybe a little wheelsy. I don't know. It's just really fun, I think. I'm running about 22 swamp cards. So it's not too land heavy, and there's a pretty good ramp package. So we'll get into that in just a second. But just an overview of the commander. It's a 3-cost commander. So, I mean, you could be running Jeweled Lotus in here, but I'm not. It's a Phyrexian Praetor, Gex Yawgmoth. You can see by the playmat. I'm a big fan of this guy. It's pretty cool. I like the art and whatnot. And it says whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, they draw a card. So the interesting thing is if somebody deals combat damage to you, the person controlling this commander, that opponent or that person that dealt damage to you doesn't actually get this because it's only to my opponents. So it's pretty powerful in that it pretty much instigates the table to attack each other. Although, I don't know, my play group never really does. I don't know why. I mean, it's just free card advantage, but whatever. Well, not free, but you know. But then you can pay 7 mana, 4 any color, and then 3 black. It says discard X cards, exile top X cards of your target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among the cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. I mean, this isn't essentially the number one thing that I like to do, but it's a pretty good ability. I mean, I've done it in last-ditch efforts, and it's been able to pull me through a little bit. And I mean, the card advantage in this deck is pretty insane, especially considering the commander. So I've themed the deck a lot around gathering cards and then basically just smashing your opponent's face with too much value and punishing them for it. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really fun deck. I mean, there are some cheap ways to win. And I've done that before. I mean, I don't know how many turns, maybe like 5 turns, 4 turns I was able to win. But that's only like out of the luckiest draws. But anyways, let's get into it. So, I mean, for the first thing, I wanted to look over ramp and just getting your mana up. I mean, Dark Ritual and a mono black commander, are you kidding me? Obviously. Turn 1 commander. And then we got Cabal Ritual. Another good one. I mean, if you can get the threshold, that's good. But just another one of those things. Lotus Petal. I don't know. It's just a mono black, so I mean, I feel like why not add it in there? It's just a little. It's like a nice little addition. It's not like an insane card. And Soul Ring, obviously. I mean, come on. You kidding me? You kidding me? Arcane Signet, just an additional ramp. Fellwar Stone, just always good to have. Why not? Mind Stone, mainly because you can get the card draw from it. I mean, it's not like perfect or anything, but it works. Thought Vessel, because you are gonna have a massive hand. So yeah, and it doubles as like a little bit of a mana ramp thing. Extra planar lens. I mean, come on, it's a mono color deck. So almost always you're gonna. This is a really good artifact to always have out. Cryptghast, the same way. It's just an additional mana ramp, and then extort. It's not a big deal, but it kind of fits with the flavor and theme of the deck. The Black Market Connections. It's just like a good deck. I mean, I'm always almost never gonna hit higher mercenary, but I always do the first two. And losing life in this deck is all right because there are some lifelink enablers and some cards with lifelink. But I mean, along with the theme of the deck, I mean, you pay 1 life to have card advantage. So I mean, I want to keep this. And I guess as a side note, this deck was a response to my Carrick deck. I used to have a Carrick deck, and I kind of themed it towards Reanimator, but I didn't realize how broken Carrick is. So, my friends were like, this is a fucking CDH deck, dude. Like, are you kidding me? So I was like, all right, I'll kind of power it down. All right, I'll just do this. I wasn't even doing anything crazy. I mean, I did have Mana Crypt in there, but I decided to do Gix, and I'm very happy with the change because it's so much fun. But yeah, Sword of the Animist. So one of the tactics of this deck is going to be throwing out little dudes and dealing damage, albeit not too much, but just dealing some damage, enabling this guy right here. And those little guys are pretty much all unblockable unless you're running another crazy deck. So it's good to have one of these guys because this will help you ramp and build your mana coffers a little more, and it's pretty good because I mean you're almost always guaranteed to be able to play this. Albeit it's all an attack, whatever. Jet Medallion, just like, are you kidding me? All right, now on to some of the useful lands. Fabled Passage. I mean, we are running 22 basics, so why not? I mean, it just like. There's argument about thinning the deck, but I don't care. I also love this card. And then Prismatic Vista, I mean, another good card. I mean, better than Fabled Passage, but Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, pretty essential in this deck. I mean, most of my lands are basics, but if we can guarantee all of them are, then that'll just make it a better situation for us. Cabal Coffers, I mean, obviously, it's just like a Nykthos kind of. Speaking of that, we're also running Nykthos. I mean, 7 mana isn't just an easy number to come by. I mean, you're not going to be playing it all the time. Might as well build up a very, very strong mana base, right? So, fantastic mono colored deck card. War Room, also another good card for a mono color deck. You pay life equal to the color in your commander's identity, and just being black, you pay 1, but you pay 3, you get the draw, blah blah blah. It could be, it's just like it's a good card. So reason I'm running this guy is because you can pay 1 mana to make him a 1/1 flyer, and that kind of fits with the theme of these little guys that we're about to get into. And Gix, it enables Gix, so making a 1/1 flyer. Flying is just about like evasive enough, I guess. I mean, I have a flying deck, a Griffin's deck, which I could probably look over sometime soon, and it's crazy how easy like it is to be evasive with flyers. So it's just it acts as a land, so you can play it as a land, but then also when you need to, you can play it as a creature. So it works out, I think, in the end, really. Reliquary Tower, another card that enables you to have like an infinite hand size. So good. Bajuka Bog, I mean, you want to exile a freaking Marin graveyard, so why not, right? You always need some graveyard hate. This guy, the Blackgate, it just helps your creatures be unblockable. If you want to, you can make Gix unblockable too. And it gives them fear, so it's not perfect, but it is pretty strong. I mean, and you can guarantee to go against a Bant player or something. So just a good land card. Now we're getting into the little dudes, the dudes that do the do. This is literally the pinnacle guy, kind of, not really, but it's just a 1 mana, very low mana cost. Doesn't have to be strong. I mean, almost none of them are strong, but it's a 1/1, and it just can't be blocked. So it can't block, but it's unblockable too. So it pretty much swings by. If you have like a dude playing Krenko and he has 4 billion goblins, he's not going to be able to block this guy, and so you're going to be able to trigger Gix with this. So Tormented Soul is one of them. Sturge, it's just a flying dude, but he's 1 cost, and then if you have to, you can sacrifice and draw a card, which kind of works with the theme of the deck. Vault Scourge, effectively a 1 cost card, and it's flying, evasive enough, I'd say. But what's really interesting about this one is it's lifelink. So you're not gonna lose life. You're not gonna gain life really with this. But when you attack with this and you trigger Gix, you're net zeroing. You're just drawing a card. So I mean, it's a good card. I mean, come on, yeah. Horsemanship, you don't see that often. I mean, how often are you playing against a deck that's horsemanship? So an unblockable guy. I mean, just 2 costs, but whatever. And then I'm running a lot of shadow characters in there. So a lot of Douthy dudes. And this guy's just a 2-drop shadow. And then also just can't be blocked by white creatures. So that's just another unblockable dude. Here we have a haste guy with flying in first strike, so also pretty good. Another Douthy dude, shadow. His tap is probably not gonna be useful really unless somebody's playing Douthy Voidwalker. This guy, good too, really good too. I mean, Death Touch is more of just more just to disincentivize your opponent than actually being unblockable. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to go against the token guy, but still. And then we have Nether Trader, another guy with Shadow. He also has haste, which is good. And his little wording there, where if another guy gets put into the graveyard, you can pay 1 black mana and play him from your graveyard, so that's pretty good. Prickly Bogart, or Boggart, I don't even actually know, whatever. He has Fear, he's good. Douthy Ghoul, cool, pretty cool art, old card, good. Douthy Voidwalker, I mean, you know, not much to say about this guy. He's pretty good. And if you're gonna overload somebody with value, they're most likely gonna discard cards, so it's always good to have this guy out. So it's a good card. I really like this one. Changeling Outcast, just like Tormented Soul. It's just really good, except he's a changeling, so maybe even better. I don't even know. I love this guy. I love Ginger Brute so much. You know, I had a what was it? A mutate deck, and for some reason this guy was in there. I would always mutate on this guy, and he would just be so good for some reason. I don't even know why, but man, oh man, I love Ginger Brute so much. He has a special place in my heart. Honestly, might be my favorite deck in all of Magic, I'd say. I mean, you know, he has haste. He's a 1-drop, but I mean, you can pay 1, and if there's no creature with haste, he's unblockable. So, might as well, right? Douthy Slayer, another shadow guy. He is required to attack each turn if able, but too bad. So what? Vampire Cutthroat has Skulk. Again, not a good guy. Not a good guy to attack your Krenko. deck friend. Still, it's pretty strong. I mean, you're not gonna go up against too many 1/1s unless you're like Mana Dorks or something like that. Douthie Warlord, just another shadow dude. All right, now we're getting into the good stuff, the flavorful stuff, the tasty stuff. This guy was the commander of the previous mono black deck that I had, and my friends wanted to stop playing with me, so I was like, fine, I'll just throw him in here. And he kind of works well. I mean, he's just not a bad card to put in, and so effectively a 4-drop. He's a lifelinker, and if you are playing enough mono black spells, you're going to be building up his power and then going in for attacks, and people aren't really going to want to block, but if they do, there's power and toughness is probably going to be way higher than theirs, and he's just going to load you with health. So a really useful guy to enable your wants and blah blah blah, and get you through. And also, I mean, this wording works for these costs too. So you can do the exact payment of Carrick for Gix's ability. So this is a really, really good card to have in any of your mono black decks. It just really helps cheapen your deck and play through your deck even more. And this ability also works for pay X cards. So exsanguinate. You can pay 2 life for each 1 black mana that you pay in the X cost. So really good for that reason too. Grim Hireling, I mean, we're going to be attacking a lot. It's quasi aggro, I'd say. So it's always nice to get another benefit for attacking, such as making treasures. So it's a really good guy, and I got him out of the Prosper precon actually. I didn't know he was so expensive. I was like, whoa, well, not so expensive, but the price was way higher than what I would expect for it. So it's a good card, good to keep in here. Rankle, Master of Pranks. It's haste. It attacks quick. It's not cheap in any way, but it works well. I mean, each player loses 1 life and draws a card. If you have more of the Tormented Soul characters and hurting other people with overvalue, then it's a really good card. You can make people discard cards too. So I don't really know why I'm running this guy. I wasn't really running any instants or sorceries that I would want to keep Beseech the Mirror for. Actually, I do, but I want to make this deck a little more casual, so I'm not running that. And I put this guy back in here, and the whole punishing players for drawing cards is what you're really pushing towards to win in this deck. And he does that exact thing whenever you draw a card. If you're the Monarch, target opponent loses 2 life. You're almost guaranteed to be the Monarch because, you have a bunch of unblockable guys, ideally, if you're able to even get them out. But when 1 or more creatures deals combat damage to you, convert star stream. And this is what the back says. So he's a vehicle with haste. And then whenever you become the Monarch, you get to go switch him back. So I don't know. I might consider him. I played him 4, but I don't really know how I feel about him per se. But then we're getting into a little bit more of the interaction. If you're able to swing unblocked, you can just ninjutsu this dude out and then be able to destroy a planeswalker or a creature the opponent controls. So it's just pretty good interaction, I'd say. And then Lightning Greaves. Okay, I don't know why. That's good. So let's put him on him, keep him safe. Shieldred, now we're getting into the wheelsy things where we're punishing players for drawing cards, but also making it better for us. So each time we get one trigger from this, we're getting 1 life net from this. So losing 1 life, gaining 2, netting 1 life total. So I mean, Shieldred's in general a good card, but an even better card in this deck. So definitely running this. I mean, Orcish Bowmaster is also a good card. You get to mass orcs and whatnot. But it works with this deck because each time an opponent draws a card, you're pinging them, you're hurting them, which is what you want. Underworld Dreams, kind of the poster of this deck, I'd say. So you just really want to be playing as much of these effects as possible. I mean, you want to be forcing people to draw cards, kind of, and you're wanting them to, kind of eat shit for it. That's what you want them to do. Same with this guy, Psychosis Crawl. I mean, come on. It's a good guy. You never want to go down to 0 cards, but it's the same thing. He's just an expensive dude, but you still want to run as many decent cards like this as possible. And then, okay, some more interaction again. Just Feed the Swarm. A good interaction piece. Defile, another good interaction piece. You know, when I was running Carrick, I would just pay 2 life for this. So it's just good. Effectively, another 1 cost card, and you're almost going to be always killing a creature with this. So especially important ones like commanders. Infernal Grasp, another really really good interaction piece. Deadly Rollick, a fantastic interaction piece. And Imp's Mischief, a good card. Not really necessarily the counter spell, but you get to counter spell another counter spell. So, you definitely want to be running this in a mono black. And then some of the reanimating effects. It's not that you're necessarily a reanimator, but you are okay with sacrificing creatures sometimes, or even pulling shenanigans necessary. If somebody's gonna kill Gix, you can be like, that's okay, because you can just bring him back with this guy, because Gix is 3 cost. So yeah, same with this guy, really good card. Molecule Rebirth, another shenanigan card, and you can put him in the battlefield as a land. So if you're in dire straits with that, you can reanimate. Just another fantastic reanimator card. I mean, it's a staple. So whoops. Okay. And then Whip of Erebos. I'm not 100% on this card in this deck, but the doing creatures you control have lifelink is kind of the reason why I'm keeping it in here. You can tap it, pay 4 mana. What is that, Dread Return? I don't know. And you can bring a creature back from your graveyard, but the lifelink enabling is really important, because I mean, you are going to be paying a lot of life in a lot of your cards, paying a lot of life to draw cards. So you kind of do want to gain life. I mean, Carrick is one of them. Shieldred is going to help with that as well. But it'd be nice if every single creature you have either nets you 0 or 1 life for each damage they do, given that you trigger Gix or do Gix's ability. Bolus's Citadel, with Aether Flux Reservoir, just a good card, just good card combo. I mean, I'm not running Sensei's Divining Top, but this will kind of even each other out, and it just helps a lot. So I think I've won with this before. I don't remember now, but it's just a good card. And also Aether Flux Reservoir, even if you're playing 2 spells in 1 turn, getting that 3 life in total is going to be nice. And also, if you can discard even more and just play these spells without without paying its mana cost, I mean, you're going to be really factoring up that summation equation. So, whoops. All right. Meat Hook Massacre, I don't really know why I'm playing this, but I am. It's a kind of a good Wrath. But given that your guys are almost all 1/1s, or like 2/1s and stuff like that, or 2/2s, you're going to be wrathing yourself too. Though when your creatures die, each opponent loses 1 life too, and you gain 1 life for each opponent. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good card to keep in here, but it's not anything fantastic or anything that's super flavorful or on theme with it. So I'm willing just to keep it. Great Merchant of Asphodel, a fantastic card. If you're able to, this could be a win con. It can also save you if you're paying too much life for a lot of things. So it's often a card that I look for or wait for the right time to play. But I love this card. The One Ring is still on theme, I'd say, and it's like it protects you too. So it's a pretty good card to keep in there. I like this one a lot. Skull Clamp, and you're sometimes willing to sacrifice your guys, and especially if that means getting the extra 2 cards, then I'd say it's worth it. So it's a really good card to keep in here. Deadly Dispute, another sacrifice to draw cards, but also you get to create a treasure token. So it's nice. It's a nice addition. Knight's Whisper, just a fantastic draw card. I really like this, so keeping it in here. I also love this art. Phyrexian Arena, also on theme. I mean, a lot of people kind of were like, oh, this is not as good of a card. I mean, I like it, so I'm keeping it in here. And that's that. Dark Deal, Wheelsy card. But this could also force people to draw into their deaths. So if you force everyone to discard and you have Dathly Voidwalker, you have a plethora of cards to select from. But on top of that, if you have Underworld out, then that's gonna ping them for a lot, depending on how many cards they have in their hand. Really good card. Willis, Broker of Blood. Pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1 until end of turn. But the major thing is when you lose life, draw that many cards. So let's say he attacks, and then you pay 1 life to draw 1 card. Well, you paid 1 life, so you get to draw 2 cards. It's just really good. And then you get to pay one black mana to pay 2 life. You draw 2 cards. Get to also do -1/-1 on that creature that you choose. So it's just a really fantastic card in this deck, and I played in my Carrick deck, and it was broken in there too. So because you get to draw 4 cards for free basically by just paying life. So definitely a card that you should be running in here. So now here's one of the one and done victory cards. This will literally win you the game if you have Underworld out or Shieldred or anybody like that, because you can just target any player if you have any of those cards out, and that will make them lose half their life. Doesn't matter how much it is. They get to draw half their deck, which will finish them off with the other half. So yeah, I try not to play this often, but if it's like, if the game is if the game is pretty tight and or pretty bleak, I'm willing to play this, and you can win really quick with this, honestly, especially if you have Carrick out. Exsanguinate, another just kind of like a Grey Merchant's Asphodel. If you have enough mana, this will save you or hold you out for quite a while. So this is a really good card that I really like playing in here. So another one is Torment of Hailfire. It's just a mean card, but it helps you win. So I don't care. And to find those cards, you know, you can tutor for them. And I'm just running Demonic Tutor and Vampiric Tutor. So, yeah, I'd say that's all you need. I mean, you can do Imperial Seal and Beseech the Mirror and other cards. But yeah, I mean, Gix Yawgmoth is, man, I love this card. I love this deck. It's so much fun. It's mean, but it's also fair, I'd say. If you play it fair, you can kind of play it unfair. I mean, you can run out that one card and win pretty quick. So yeah, no, I mean, give it a try. It's a fun deck. I mean, hopefully this gave you guys some ideas. I'm not really emphasizing the exile thing too much. I mean, there's not really any cards that were doing that. But if you're kind of dead, you don't really have anything that you can do or play, and you have a bunch of cards in your hand that you're okay with discarding, this will be a pretty good ability to do. So yeah, that was Gix.